Welcome back. It is still Wednesday, December 23rd, 2015. This is still the morning edition on I-24 News. Thank you for staying with us. Last I checked, I am still Yael Lavie, and let's go to Iran. An Iranian embassy in Jerusalem. These words alone are enough to stop anyone in their tracks, and a group of artists and activists in Jerusalem did just that. Aiming to establish cultural ties with the people of Iran, the group has established the Iranian embassy at the Julie K. Palace Gallery in Jerusalem. Premiered its exhibition in a very curious event, mixing art, music, dance, and sheer nostalgia to the connection that once was between the people of Tehran and Jerusalem, before being cut by the Islamic Revolution in 1979. I-24 News correspondent Daniel Ross was on the scene as they opened the Iranian embassy, and this is the report he filed for us.
This is a historic moment most Israelis never thought they'd live to see. The opening of the Iranian embassy in Jerusalem. No, Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu were not invited. And no sudden breakthrough was achieved in the tense relationship between the two countries. But a group of artists and activists have decided to take matters into their own hands.
Our goal is direct communication with the Iranian people through art and culture. And beside that, we really want to know the culture, and we don't want to disconnect the relationship that we had with the people. And so we're trying to bring Iranian art here and the Iranian people, and to know the culture, to know the people.
The opening of the embassy, ironically taking place in a Jewish neighborhood in East Jerusalem, was initiated by artists and activists collective Hamabul, referring to the biblical flood, who brought forth an interesting mix of art, dance, music, and a nostalgic atmosphere for a time when the idea of a dialogue between Israelis and Iranians was not a national taboo. When the event first hit the streets of Jerusalem, this is what happened. The so-called Iranian embassy drew many curious visitors, young and old, who showed a deep interest in the Iranian culture and the possibility of social and cultural connections between the people of the two warring countries. With approximately 100,000 Israelis from Iranian origins, the yearning for some connection to the culture of their heritage is evident even among the younger exhibition visitors.
I have a connection for this nation. I feel it very special for me to come here tonight. It's a pride for my father and for my country.
At a time when tolerance to Islamic culture within Israeli society is at an all-time low, this art event supported by the Jerusalem municipality is not to be taken for granted. Participating artists gave great significance to the statement of its very existence.
I've been hearing a lot of feedback about how it's a great event and people are really excited about it. I think a lot of people were really moved by the event and the gesture. It's not something obvious that anyone would do, and it's a really special project, I think. So I was extremely glad to participate, and it was a nice experience.
As the evening drew to a close, one thing was clear. Despite many years of political pandering around the so-called Iranian threat, many Israelis are eager to know more about Farsi culture and the nation behind it.
I think the artwork is very impressive, it's very special, and something about the vibe of the place. I mean, it's so nice to see so many also young people coming here, looking to see the different aspects of Iran, a country that we are so constantly fed with very specific images of. And people want to see other things.
Whether or not a real Iranian embassy will ever open in Israel remains to be seen, but the voices heard at this wonderfully strange art event signify that not all is lost between the people of the two countries. Once again, art succeeds where politics fail.
With me in studio are two Farsiphiles, if I may call you that way, in many ways. Iranian culture is of interest in Israel, especially to director Yuval Dilshad, good morning to you,
good morning,
whose Farsi-speaking film Babajoon was Israel's candidate for the Best Foreign Film category in the Academy Awards. Didn't make it to the shortlist, but fabulous, fabulous film. And also with us, director Dan Shador, the man behind the fascinating documentary Before the Revolution, which tells the tale of the close ties between Israelis and Iranians in the 60s and the 70s. I want us to take a look at the trailer of your film first, because I think this will explain to viewers exactly that Israel and Iran, you know, there is a history there, and it's not just one of nuclear battles. Let's take a look at the trailer of Before the Revolution.
לנסוע לטהרן זה היה פתאום כמו איזה מיליונרי.
שיתוף הפעולה עם ישראל היה אדיר. מי לימד אותם חקלאות? מי הקים להם את כל הסכרים הכי גדולים? בנינו להם מדינה.
אנחנו לא עיוורים, ידענו באיזה מציאות אנחנו חיים. כי לא הייתה שם דמוקרטיה. It's not our bloody business.
שאלת פרסי, למה באיראן אין חופש? אז הוא אמר, בגלל שהמערב תומך בדיקטטור.
הם קנו הרבה מאוד נשק ותחמושת מישראל. עשרות קצינים ישראלים אימנו את הצבא האיראני.
חשבנו שאנחנו עוזרים להם.
אתה מבין שאתה בעצם לא מבין כלום. שום דבר.
עלינו על הגג וראינו את טהרן בוערת.
אתה פשוט לא מאמין למראה עיניך.
ואנחנו יושבים, ואף אחד לא קם ונוסע הביתה.
Dan Shador, Before the Revolution, which I'm assuming came also from a personal place. Your parents were traveling also back in the days in the 70s?
Yes, well, they weren't traveling. They were actually living there for a few years. Yes, and I was born in late 77. So I basically spent my first year in Tehran until the El Al planes took all the families back in late 78.
What did you find out when doing this film? Because the Iranian-Israeli story that we tell day in and day out in this studio is one, of course, of the pending war that we're all expecting at a certain point. It wasn't that way all the time.
It was quite the opposite in many ways. I mean, I grew up with this narrative of this lost paradise. I knew my parents had a great life there. I knew their friends had a great life there. But only when I started researching, I realized that there was the extent of the ties between the states. The commercial ties and the military ties were enormous. And I was quite amazed, someone who grew up with...
What did your parents do there, just out of interest?
I'm not allowed to talk about it. No, I'm joking.
Nice. Okay.
I'm joking. My late father was he was an IT man back in the days, and he was working in construction, and then he was working for Toyota in Tehran.
And we will touch on this past, but
but another narrative that was interesting for me to explore is what I grew up with was like we had this great paradise, and then the bad guys came and just threw us away because they're the bad guys. And then when I started looking into the revolution, I saw that it had, of course, it had the Islamic side, but it also had like very deep social roots that carried it out. So
they carried it out, as we said. I mean, I think we all tend to forget because it's so easy to demonize the enemy that the revolution in Iran actually began almost like the Arab Spring.
In many ways.
In some ways.
In many ways, yes. It was kind of a collaboration between the students and the liberals and the communists, and on the one side, and the Islamic on the one side, and on the other side, and they kind of fueled each other every time. One side got tired, the other one arose. So, but of course, it wouldn't have happened if there wasn't the students and the liberals and the people.
If that mass support.
And they were fighting the regime, which the Israelis were very much connected to. So it had Israel did a lot of good things in Iran, but there was a lot of shady stuff as well.
A lot of shady stuff that, you know, the extent of the connection is one that I want to touch on in a second, but I don't want to forget Yuval Delshad, because you made this amazing film in Farsi. Yes.
You know, for me, it's very simple. Even the people from Iran send me messages and ask how it can be. How can you make a film in Israel and can speak Farsi?
And before you continue, let's take a look at the trailer of this film, Baba June, which made quite a lot of work. Did you see it?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, then you need to.
I saw the trailer. I didn't.
You saw the trailer. Let's take a look. Let's all of us take a look at the trailer, Baba June, an Israeli film in Farsi. We'll explain why.
طوفان درختی که خم نشه میشکنه صبر میکنی تا طوفان بگذره
בוא תראה מה קניתי לך.
ביקשתי לך לבנות טיול?
ג'ובי! ברא ג'הנם!
تو زیادی بهش فشار میاری
خود یاد میگیرم.
در خودتو داری در میاری. واسه چی داری درست میکنی؟
بزرگی.
صبر کن منم بیام. وایسا.
پس آمریکا چطوره؟
یعنی land of opportunity.
حالا که لازمش دارم.
No te la haces con los animales. Lo como.
It's based on your life story?
Yes.
Okay. Growing up an Israeli Iranian in many ways.
Yeah.
What is the, because we have Dan Shador on one side with the, I'm going to call your story, the expats of Israel coming to build Iran.
Yes.
And you are the families of the Jews who flee Iran in many ways.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up that way?
In Israel, many Iranian Jewish people came here to live in Israel, and like many other people that came to live in Israel. But the difference is, it's when the revolution was, they understood that they cannot go back.
They can't go back ever.
They need to stay here, but some of the families are half there and half here. So after the revolution, it became like separation families. Like they stay there, and who is success to run out, or before the revolution, when there was peacetime.
Yeah.
So many people lives here in Israel, and they have family, relative in Iran and in Los Angeles. This is the main place.
The main hubs of the Iranian Jewish community. What was it hard in terms of trying, if I may ask you about your parents, of trying to let go of the culture of the old country? Was that as hard as the film portrays?
Yeah, when you're immigrants in new country, your roots, your culture, your language, this is the things that you hold. And you want your child also to hold it, because this is your identified, like yourself. Yeah. So it took a lot of time when the old generation understood, and they became, understood that they live here, they can be Israeli, because there is some similarity between the culture. We are not so different.
That does not surprise me. It may surprise our leaders, but we're not so different.
Yeah.
In many ways.
For better and worse.
For better and worse. Entirely. Was there longing when it comes to your family? Did they still long for Iran? I know they they cannot back.
Always. My mom used to sit. You see one scene in the film. There is one scene in the film that the uncle from America bring a videotape of some video clip.
Right.
So my mom used to sit with a lot of videotape like this. She put it in the VCR, and she sit down and she look and start to cry and cry and cry. And all the songs are songs for Iran. How beautiful was Iran? How nice we have a life there.
Yeah.
Very sad song. You see the singer. He's sitting on a chair, and he's singing Iran, Iran, and he's crying. He's crying.
Yeah, I read about your film. I don't know if you know that some Iranian officials in an Iranian news agency came out by saying that it's a Zionist propaganda. But is that the reaction you get from Iranian viewers as well?
No, it's like in life. The politician talks different than the people. So the regime, they wrote something that don't download this film, don't see that film, because if it came from Israel, for sure it's something bad for us.
Yeah.
But the people, we've got thousands of messages by Facebook and to the website of the film that people from Iran want to see the film.
Want to come see the film. And Dan Shador, you had the same thing actually with Iranians seeing your film.
Yes, that was a surprising and amazing experience. The film is about Israelis. It's placed
living in Iran in the 70s.
Yeah, it's placed in Iran, but for me,
it's a film about Israelis.
All the people who speak are Israelis, and they're the narrators. And then showing it to an Iranian crowd. The premiere was in Toronto. And there is a very big Iranian community there. So most of the audience were Iranians, and the response was amazing. Like seeing that they connect to the story, they connect to the narrative, and they connect to it in a way similar to Israelis, because for them it's kind of a lost paradise as well, which was beautiful and made them connect to the Israeli. And they also connected to the narrative of the revolution that doesn't portray them as, you know,
as just the Islamist jihadist.
Yeah.
Now, I want to thank you both for this. This is quite enlightening, and I want to say that administrations will not join us together. Maybe art will, and I think you're living proof of that. So thank you for joining me in studio.